Welcome back to BadgerBlitz TV, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by my good friend, Rivals.com national analyst, Clint Cosgrove. Clint, it's the best time of the week.
Best time of the week. Ready to be awesome.
Let's
What's up, Dan?
be awesome. What's up, Badgers Den? What's up, everybody out there, Rivals Nation? Make sure that you have clicked subscribe if you are watching this. We come out with these every week. We've got so much more content in the backlog. Make sure to check out all of our previous episodes as well if you want to check out some guys we've been breaking down in the past. Today, we are going to start by scouting the newest inside linebacker offer for the Badgers in 2024. That is West Bloomfield, Michigan's Kari Jackson. He's a really interesting kid, Clint. He is a big, thick kid. He transferred up from IMG. You rarely see kids transfer out of IMG going to other places. He's gone up to West Bloomfield, made a really big impact for them on the field this year, came to Wisconsin for an unofficial, left with an offer. Let's talk about this kid, Clint, because I think he could be a big-time player.
Yeah, for sure. So he started out in Michigan, and he actually started picking up offers at a young age. You know, got the old IMG pitch, went down there. And it can be hard at IMG because you're splitting time. You're no longer the guy. Sometimes you're not even, you're splitting reps no matter how good of a prospect you are. And then a lot of guys, they find out that they just want to be closer to home, or maybe they want more of a Midwest feel to their recruitment if they, and a lot of guys transfer in and out. So, but yeah, you talk about a guy who's a Big Ten linebacker, and this is kind of the prototype. You wouldn't call him an old Midwest Mike that would play in the 90s necessarily because he can run and hit. But he's a sideline to sideline guy. We have him listed around 220. He's probably heavier than that. You see him pull the trigger. He reads and diagnoses plays really well. His block destruction's impressive. His lateral movement and ability to change direction after diagnosing the play is really impressive as well. I love the way he triggers, like they're reading his keys, sees the pull, scrapes over the top, and then has the athleticism to run down and make the tackle. Extremely disruptive. I think he'll be a fantastic blitzer at the next level or an extra rusher. You could even bring him off the edge, but he is what you were looking for in a Big Ten linebacker because he does have the size, he can thump. But he also has the athletic ability. He can run, especially for a guy his size. You love it there. He works laterally, and then he works across the lineman's face, just more athletic than him, able to trigger and make the play. You'll notice when he does come downhill, his block. You see the block destruction right there. He can go around guys, but he can go through them. He uses his hands and he butts them up, but he explodes through contact. He's not letting the blow be brought to him. He's bringing the blow every play. There's just so much to like about him. And to think that he's only a 2024, this is a kid who I think has a very high upside. He's got a pretty decent offer sheet, but he's a kid that would fit well in the Big Ten, well in the Wisconsin scheme. And, he's a guy that I could see him going hard after. And, Wisconsin's had some success in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how his recruitment plays out.
Yeah, I mean, they have a backer from Michigan that they got in the past cycle in Aiden Vaughn, who we all think is a very interesting prospect just from an athletic standpoint, right? He could fit a bunch of different places. I think Jackson's a really, really, solid prospect, like you said, Clint. He's definitely like somewhere between like a regional and national prospect, right? Like you call him maybe a super regional prospect, right? If we want to throw an NCAA baseball term in there, he's a super regional prospect. And so he's like a mid to high 4-star, definitely like going to be an impact kid at the next level.
Okay.
I really like his length as an inside backer, and you see him able to really shed blocks well by, getting a lot of extension with his arms. He's listed 6'2". He looks bigger, and his arms are long. I don't know what his measured wingspan is. I'd be willing to guess it's coming up on 80 inches because you can really see him, use his long arms to get to shed blockers well and run and use those arms when he's chasing down guys. You see him even on like some of those receiver sweeps that he is chasing down from the back. He just uses those long arms, just grab him from the back and pull him down. So I love that. I love seeing that. And I also like seeing the Badgers back in the state of Michigan. We saw, Schutzman brought this up in the Badgers Den. We always appreciate the question. Schutzy, I'm going to call you Schutzy for the rest of the day, Schutzman. Schutzy always brings the fire, especially, but he wants to know what's going on in the state of Michigan. We see the Badgers going back in, they've got 4 offers now for 2024. They had only three offers for the 2023 cycle. None of them stuck. But there was a time, 2018, 2019, 2020, where you saw Bob Bostad really active in the state of Michigan. I mean, especially the 2018 class, 12 offers, 5 commitments. That was a really, really, in that, I think that signaled to a lot of people that the Badgers were going to be more active in the state of Michigan, because let's face it, there's a fair bit of talent coming up through there, especially in and around
Yeah.
Detroit. And so my question to you is, is that a place that you think, we've talked about different areas of the country that the Badgers need to be investing in? Is Michigan one of those areas that they should be targeting in their recruiting, and why or why not?
Yeah. So I think when looking at recruiting in Michigan, Detroit especially, you've got to have a guy who kind of has the connections, who can walk into those places, who knows the trainers up there, who knows the coaches out there. And because those coaches want to send guys where they know their kids are going to be taken care of, and they can develop not only as players, but as people. And I've seen Coach Bostad up there on the road back when I was scouting. We'd run into each other in high schools. He's well respected up there. So they do have a guy who can do it. The Wisconsin guys are the guys from Michigan, have had some success at Wisconsin as well. But the big key is, are we going to be able to get the guys we want out of there? And are we going to be able to win battles against Michigan and Michigan State if we are going to do so? That can be a hard battle, especially, Michigan State, although, arguably they're not having the greatest year this year, but they can recruit. And, it's hard to beat Michigan as well. But at the same time, Michigan's a national recruiting team. Michigan State goes hard in the transfer portal. You don't always have to beat those guys to get the top prospects there. And if you find the right kid, a kid who loves Wisconsin and is a good fit, and, socially, athletically, from a football standpoint and everything like that, and there's a lot of those kids up there that were a perfect fit for Wisconsin, then I think you can do some damage. You got to pick your battles. Now, when I say pick your battles, that doesn't mean not only don't be afraid to go up against Michigan and Michigan State. That's who I want to be going up against, because those are the kids that you want to get down there if the hometown team sees them as a player who can be an impact player for them. So it's all about having the guy. It's all about choosing your battles. And when I say that, it's the guys who are a good fit, who appreciate Wisconsin football. You don't want to go after a guy who, he's like, if I'm going to play in the Big Ten, I'm going to play in Michigan or Michigan State, or I'm going to go to one of these other national teams that are coming up here in recruiting. So you can win there. You can there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of elite talent there as well. It's all about finding that perfect fit and a guy who believes in the Wisconsin program, and, just selling them on what Wisconsin is and what it can be in the future. And, I don't think you have to major in there, because you do have a guy in Coach Bostad who is capable of recruiting the area, has the connections. So I think you can spot it. You don't want to make it your only blueprint. It's a little farther than Chicago, probably similar distance. I'm not sure to St. Louis in that. But I think it's got to be part of your blueprint. And, the more success you have there, I believe the more players that you'll get, and the more success that the kids who come to Wisconsin have at Wisconsin, then there's a little buzz up there in the area, and the coaches and the trainers and all that, they want to send their kids there. So, I think it's got to be part of the blueprint.
Yeah, success breeds success when it comes to this kind of stuff, and you really see them going after specific high schools. And two of them have been West Bloomfield, where Kari Jackson has been a really important high school for them, as is Walled Lake, which I'm pretty sure that's where Aiden Vaughn came from. The
Yep.
school everyone knows there is Cass Tech. In around Detroit, they put out just ridiculous amounts of talent every year. River Rouge, another one. Reggie Pearson was a River Rouge kid. He was one of the first guys to really start to trickling in and getting a bunch of kids in with him from Michigan. Any other high schools out there in Michigan for people to keep an eye out on?
Well, the one safety, the long safety, he was at Detroit Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
Walled Lake, they're on fire right now. That's where Aiden came from. Like you said, their quarterback's going to Minnesota. The running back's currently committed to Minnesota. He just picked up, I believe, a Michigan offer this week. So, they've got some dudes in there. There's a lot of good programs. Belleville High School, actually, the guy who was coaching it for a little bit at Wisconsin as the linebackers coach, he's actually their defensive coordinator up there. I was up there, and I was like, he looks familiar. And I didn't find out until after I left that he was there, because he was with the Lions at one point. His family's probably up there. But yeah, there's a lot of programs. I mean, Belleville is absolutely loaded. They've got that 2025 quarterback who's right now, I believe, our number one quarterback in the nation in 2025. But no, they've got some players in the Detroit area. There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to see the Badgers invest in these areas and these, these metro hubs that are really, either Detroit's a city that's actually like kind of coming back to life right now, right? As an actual like city. I'm not talking about just football. I'm just talking about like as a city,
Yep.
it's been one of the, sort of the Rust Belt towns that's sort of been revitalized in the last 10 to 15 years. We see the Badgers. I want to see them invest in Kansas City, in St. Louis, and some of these places have been like a little less under recruited, especially by maybe Big Ten teams, especially in Kansas City.
For
But
sure.
the last thing we're going to hit today, you just had a conversation with Jimmy Leonhard, someone very important, obviously. You guys will be able to see it over on rivals.com. Make sure to check it out. Clint's podcast, subscribe, listen, download, unsubscribe, resubscribe, re-rate, re-review, and just talk about your conversation with Jimmy. What was it like? What's the vibe that you got off of Coach Leonhard in your conversation?
It was, I mean, it was, I've known Jimmy for a long time, but it was impressive. It was fun talking to him in this head coaching role. He approaches every day as if he is going to be the next head coach. And, I think it's one of those things that he is 100% ready. I have even more confidence after our conversation. He has a plan. It's just all about, if and when they name him as head coach. If they go in a different direction, obviously that doesn't matter. But like, I was just really impressed. He has a plan. He wants to modernize Wisconsin football because he knows that it can be. They can take that next step. And one of the things that he touched on, I believe, is we can be modern without losing the Wisconsin tradition. You just, you update things in certain areas, and he's ready, whether it be recruiting, whether it be NIL, whether it be just the approach to the schematics and everything like that. But it was very impressive. He's I don't know. I was blown away with his answers. He definitely has a plan. And one of the things that he did say is like, we've been good, but good isn't good enough. I want to take that next step, and he's willing to do the things that it takes. And he wants to. Not that the Wisconsin program isn't modernized, but he talks about player development is a huge thing. He's like, we're known for developing players on the field. He wants to develop them in all areas. He wants to have NIL opportunities and everything like that. So, he's without question ready. It's just, does the administration see him as the guy, or are they looking for a guy with more head coaching experience? One of the things that I bring up is, while some of these other guys were coming up coaching, he was playing in the NFL. And so you can't knock that as lack of experience. He was basically getting his doctorate in the X's and O's and the different approaches from some of the greats in NFL football. And a lot of NFL is managing personalities. So he's got that down. And then he's been coaching at this level. He understands it. He understands the recruiting piece. I know he's going to be very involved in the recruiting piece if given that opportunity. And, I think there's some good things to come ahead. And some of the things that people in the den have complained about, I think if given the resources, I think a lot of that stuff will be fixed. So it'll be interesting to see how things roll. But make sure you tune in for it tomorrow because it was fun. It's a good one. And, it's fun because you don't see Wisconsin coaches necessarily going on these podcasts, going on these shows and stuff like that. And even his willingness to do there and play the media game and all of that, I think that's big. And so that's a platform. He was able to sell the Wisconsin platform, the Wisconsin program, and all the recruits see this. And that's a big step in the right direction in and of itself. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot remains to be seen, but if given the opportunity, I think he'll do a good job. And you'll just have to tune in tomorrow to see what else he had to say.
Well, by the time this drops, that should be out at right about the same time. So if you're hearing this, you can probably tune over to the other one and vice versa. I don't know how I'm going to inception that into your conversation with Jimmy, but you never know. So Clint, thank you so much as always for your insights. This has, like it always is, best time of the week, baby. You can check out Clint on all the social medias at rivals_Clint. I'm at _Perko_. Still regretting the underscore. Still waiting for someone to buy the Twitter handle for me. Everything at Twitter is on
Dad.
sale now from for Mr. Musk. So I don't know. He'll probably take an offer for it. You can check out me and Matt Bernstein on Believe in Badger Football podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. And on YouTube, we've got Chikwe Obasi this week. Really fun conversation with Chikwe. And until next time, make sure that you are on BadgerBlitz.com all the time, and we will see you in the den.
In the den.